Hi students, welcome to VerandaRace. And today's session we are going to discuss interchange of words and the Hindu editorial thorough discussion. Both of things will be there. We have 7 questions of interchange of words and the Hindu editorial. So let us start the session. Thorough discussion of the editorial March 12th. And the first question on the screen is this interchange of words. Yeah. So let us start the session. So we have to do this interchange of words. We have to interchange the words and find the correct answer. And then we'll move to the Hindu editorial discussion. So we have to find which pair is interchanged. Fine. So in one we have 211 districts of Delhi. So it should be catering to, right? So 1 and 4 should be interchanged. You can see easily. You can read also. Catering to 11 districts of Delhi, the facility mirrors the low bed occupancy across the capital, where over two-thirds of COVID beds are lying vacant. So 1-4 will be the correct option. Good evening, Naveen Chandran. Good evening. So we can get the hint from here. Catering to 11 districts of Delhi. Catering to means providing support to. If you cater to something, you provide support to that thing. So catering to 11 districts of Delhi, the facility mirrors the low bed occupancy. Mirrors means shows the low bed occupancy. Fine. Next question. Delhi has benefited from, so 1 is fixed, so whichever options have 1 can be eliminated, either 2-4 or 2-3. Delhi has benefited from stringent testing measures, priority, medical of cases, priority, containment of cases and their contacts, and the medical support that has been offered to. So 4 and 2 will be exchanged. 2 and 4 is the correct answer. How did we do this? Good evening, Rajeshwari. So how did we do this question? Benefited is fixed. So we will eliminate options that have 1 with them. 1, 3, 1, 4. They will be eliminated. So 2 and 4 can be exchanged. So this will be the answer. They will be interchanged. Delhi has benefited from stringent testing measures, priority, containment of cases and their contacts, and the medical support that has been offered to patients at home isolation. C. Correct answers. Correct answer, Naveen Chandran. Well, moving ahead to the next question. The healthcare facility follows naturopathy and boosting of Ayurveda for protocols immunity of the inpatients at the center. Okay. So I think 4 can be placed in 1, I guess. The healthcare center follows naturopathy and boosting of Ayurveda for protocols immunity of the inpatients at the facility. I don't think so. Let us check once again. The healthcare protocols follows. Protocols follows will not be correct answer. Either 1 or 4 are exchanged, and protocols of Ayurveda for boosting immunity. Yeah. So 2 and 3 will be interchanged. Correct. 2, 3. This is A is the correct answer. Naveen Chandan, A is the correct answer. Agi Rajeshwari, correct answer. So 2, 3 will be interchanged. The healthcare facility follows naturopathy and protocols of Ayurveda for boosting immunity, because immunity can be boosted. That will be the correct answer. So 2, 3 is the correct answer. 1, 4, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 4. The healthcare, no, 1, 4 is fine. 1, 4 is fine, Naveen Chandan. Only 2, 3 need be, because we have an option, only one option is there. 2, 3 is the only option we have. We don't have 2 options, right? So the healthcare facility is also fine. Patients at the center is also fine, but only 2, 3 will be interchanged. Next question. India's clinical testing has focused, protocol has focused on early detection through widespread testing surveillance. Okay, 1, 3 is a probable answer. Let us check once again. This word is triaging. Triaging. Okay. So only one option within the previous question, not 1, 4, because we have only got one option for to be answered. So in this question, you can see we have India's clinical testing has focused on See, 4 is fixed, and 4 is fixed because triaging means clinical treatment of patient, the order of treatment of patient. So how the patients will be treated, that order is known as triaging. The order of treating of patients, who is of the utmost priority, who should be treated first, that is known as triaging. So we can have an option like triaging is fixed. So 4 options will be eliminated. 1, 4, 1, 4, 2, 4 will be eliminated. Clinical testing also is fixed. So 1, 4, 2, 4 is, so option will be 2, 3, I guess, because 1 is also fixed and 4 is also fixed. B, 1, A is the answer, I guess. India's clinical detection, India clinical testing has focused on early protocol through widespread detection, surveillance. 2, 3. A is the correct answer. No. Rajeshwari, I think A is the correct answer. 2, 3 will be the correct interchange, I guess. Let us check why. India's clinical testing has focused on early protocol detection through widespread detection, surveillance, prompt triaging, and clinical management. So, can we place protocol here? Can we place protocol here? Protocol means a set of rules. India's clinical testing has focused on early protocol. Okay, what's your answer? B, 1, 4, somebody says. India's clinical triaging has focused on early detection through widespread protocol, surveillance, prompt testing, and yeah, correct. 1, 4 is the correct answer. I'm sorry, this is correct answer. 1, 4. Whoever has given answer as B is correct. 1, 4 is correct answer, because you see, India's clinical triaging means order of solving problems of the patients. India's clinical triaging has focused on early detection through widespread protocol, surveillance, prompt testing, and clinical management of cases. Correct answer. 1, 4 is the correct answer. Correct. 1, 4. Naveen Chandra Rajeshwari is correct. 1, 4 is the correct answer. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. I'll tell you again. India's clinical triaging means the way patients are treated, the order of treating the patients. So, has focused on early detection through widespread protocol, surveillance, prompt testing, and clinical management of cases. 1, 4 is the correct answer. Detection is fixed, sir. Correct. A detection is fixed, so we can remove 2. So, either 1, 3 or 1, 4. So, 1, 4 is correct answer. Next question. I think the last in this series. Authorities in Delhi have put on hold their plan. Perfect. So, 1 is fixed. Either 3, 4 or 2, 3. Put hold their plan to use stadiums as makeshift. 2 is also fixed. So, 3, 4 we need to check. Okay, for now, in view of the city witnessing a good recovery rate. So, 3, 4 will be the correct answer. Very good. 3, 4. Yeah. So, in this question, hold is fixed, makeshift is fixed, 1 and 2 are fixed, so 3, 4 will be interchanged. 3, 4 will be the correct answer. Okay? 3, 4 is the correct answer. Moving ahead, one more question we have. A government fatality said that a government study. So 1 and 4 will be 1 and 3 will be interchanged. 1, 3. A government study said that there has been a sharp decline in fatality figures in the city in the past 2 weeks. So yeah, this will be D, I guess. You are saying B is the correct answer. Yeah, B was the correct answer in the previous question. So this question will have D as the answer because a government study said that. So this is done. I think I should have incorporated more questions. Okay, one more question is there. 7 questions I had added. I got disillusioned by CPI ideology, but the recent development. So 2 and 3 will be interchanged 100%. Recent development being undertaken in Swabiman Anchal motivated me to join the mainstream. It's an easy question. I got disillusioned. Disillusion means I got the reality. So I got disillusioned by CPI ideology, but the recent development being undertaken in Swabiman Anchal motivated me to join the mainstream. So 2, 3. This will be the correct answer. Moving ahead to the next question. No, we have this editorial for today. It's a very easy editorial, so I won't focus much more on the vocabulary because all the words will be known to you. So we'll just understand the meaning. Sky is wide open is the editorial for today. Sky is wide open. The government's decision to allow scheduled commercial international flights scheduled commercial international flights to resume operations from later this month will greatly benefit the travel, tourism and hospitality sectors. Okay, not a very difficult thing to understand. So government's decision to allow scheduled commercial international flights to resume operations from later this month will greatly benefit the travel, tourism and hospitality sectors, which have been among the hardest hit by the pandemic. So which have been the hardest hit? The travel, tourism and hospitality sectors. We can have a question like which sectors have been hardest hit by the pandemic? Travel, tourism and hospitality sectors. Fine. The International Air Transport Associations estimates that the global aviation industry suffered about $201 billion in losses between 2020 and 2022 due to COVID-19 and the accompanying curbs means what? Cuts or controls on overseas travel and domestic mobility. What has happened is the International Air Transport Association has estimated that the global aviation industry has suffered $201 billion in losses between 2020 and 2022 due to COVID-19 and the accompanying controls or cuts on overseas travel and domestic mobility. Okay. The tourism and hospitality industry largely feeds on the aviation sector. So tourism and hospitality. Hospitality means hotels and resorts and all. Tourism means the tourism, you know what's the tourism, the places to visit and all by the foreigners, the westerners visit them. The tourism and hospitality industry largely feeds on the aviation sector, means flight, aeroplanes and all. Aviation sectors for its earnings and jobs growth. Evident from estimates that in 2020, the year of lockdowns, India's foreign exchange earnings from tourist arrivals from abroad plummeted. Plummeted means what? Fell down. So India's earnings from tourist arrivals from abroad plummeted. 76% fall was there from the previous year of 50,136 crores. So what happened? 76%. Previous year was 50,136 crores. So 70% of that saw a fall in the foreign exchange earnings of India from tourist travels. Official data show that in just, we have written show, not shows. Official data is plural. Official data show that in just the 9 months ended December 2020, 21.5 million jobs were lost in tourism. So around 21.5 million jobs were lost in tourism. However, the decision to open international travel has coincided with the intensification of sanctions on Russia. So now that what has happened is the decision to open international travel has clashed with the intensification of sanctions on Russia in the wake of the invasion of Ukraine. So at the same time, when the decision to open international travel has been taken by the governments, different governments, it has coincided with the intensification of sanctions on Russia because of the invasion of Ukraine, which in turn has sent oil prices soaring on fears of disruptions to global energy supply chains. So what has happened is the oil prices have risen surprisingly, unprecedented way, have risen in the unprecedented way because of the fears of disruptions. Disruptions means what? Disruptions mean irregularities. Irregularities or you can say problems in the global energy supply chains. Fine. Moving ahead, the price of crude oil has zoomed close to historical peaks. Crude oil has zoomed means what? Increased or augmented, zoomed close to historical peaks. As a result, aviation turbine fuel, ATF, which is the fuel used in the aviation industry, prices also jumped by almost 60% year on year. So every year it is increased by 60%, the ATF, aviation turbine fuel. This month, India's state-owned oil marketing companies raised ATF prices for the 5th time this year. So India's own state-owned marketing companies raised the ATF prices for the 5th time this year, and this was before crude oil soared to near record highs. This happened before the crude oil soared to nearly record highs. India's own state-owned marketing companies had raised the prices fifth time this year, before only when the crude oil prices soared to near record highs. So fuel costs typically constitute about 1/5 of the global airlines operating expenditure. What happens is this fuel cost, it constitutes about 1/5 of global airlines operating. So whatever the airline operating expenditure is, that there 1/5 of the global operating expenditure is of the fuel cost, and the multiple price increases are certain to hurt airlines margins and viability. So if there's a multiple increase in the price of the aviation industry, that will hurt the airlines margins and viability. So if multiple increases are there, either in the price of crude oil or because of the fuel cost, that will hurt airlines margins and viability. The conflict in Ukraine has also triggered means instigated, incited. The conflict in Ukraine has also triggered a sharp jump in wide range of commodity prices, which is potentially set to quicken inflation across the globe. Inflation means what? Increase in price, increase in demand, that's known as inflation. So the conflict in Ukraine has also triggered a sharp jump in wide range of commodity prices, which is potentially set to quicken. Quicken means make it fast, inflation across the globe. This is bound to seep into the costs of overseas travel as well. So when we do overseas travel, this particular increase in the inflation is bound to seep into. Seep into means affect the cost of overseas travels as well, with travels needing to budget more for food and entertainment. So travelers have to budget more about the food and entertainment as well, if travelers ever come for tourism. Airlines will find it a challenge to set to all seats profitably. Airlines will find it a challenge to all seats profitably, given the combination of rising cost, economic uncertainty triggered by the conflict in Eastern Europe, and the residual fear. Residual means what? The leftover fear among travelers of new variants of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So what has happened in the last part of the paragraph says, so airlines will find it a challenge to all seats profitably. So every seat that is booked in the flight, that has to be made profitable, given the combination of rising costs of the crude oil, economic uncertainty triggered by the conflict in Eastern. So there's always an economic uncertainty because of the conflict in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine, and the residual fear of the travelers because of the new variants of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Moving ahead, strict regulations as various parts of the world cautiously open their borders. So strict regulations as various parts of the world cautiously open their borders to visitors will only add to the burden of the aviation and the hospitality industries. So what has happened is, if there are strict regulations in the various parts of the world, when the borders are opened for the visitors, will add to the burden of the aviation and hospitality industries. Aviation and the hospitality industry. Hospitality means hotels and resorts and various places where people stay during their visit. And with the pandemic and restricted mobility having steered means controlled corporates to conduct business online effectively. With the pandemic and restricted mobility means mobilization not being allowed normally, but it is restricted mobility. So having steered means controlled corporates to conduct business online effectively. Getting business related travel back to pre-pandemic levels will be a tough task. So getting the business back in the same way it was going before pandemic will be a tough task for the corporates. Restoring visitor confidence through enforcement of COVID-19 protocols and widening vaccination coverage alone may not be enough. So what will not be enough? Restoring visitor confidence through enforcement of COVID-19 protocols and widening vaccination coverage will not be enough to restore visitor confidence. Estimates show that indirect taxes take away 21% of airlines revenue. So indirect taxes already take 21% of the airlines revenue, hobbling the sector. Hobbling means what? Hobbling means when somebody is hurt, he moves in a different awkward way. That's known as hobbling. So estimates show that indirect taxes take away 21% of airlines revenue, hobbling the sector, the airline sector, lowering ATF prices, the airline turbine fuel prices, by cutting duties is an option the government must weigh. So government must weigh on the fact that, weigh means consider the fact that lowering the air turbine fuel price by cutting duties is a good option. Everything must be done to woo back more tourists. Anyhow, the tourist industry supports India a lot in its development in the revenues. So everything must be done to woo back more tourists. If tourists are not wooed back, that will not add to the revenue of India. Okay, so that's the passage all about. Not a very difficult passage to consider. Let us end the session now. Thank you so much, friends. Thank you for joining me.